And a very pleasant good afternoon or good evening or good morning, whenever you're watching the QCast today. And welcome to season 2, episode 3. Exciting guest, folks, for you today. We're staying in the South region after talking to the fine head coach, Josh Merkel of Randolph-Macon. We're going to keep it in the South with my friend Raul Placeres, the head men's basketball coach of the Maryville College Scots. Raul, this is a long time coming. I've been looking forward to this. How are you doing today?
Brother, I can't complain. I'm actually, just really happy. I turned 40 tomorrow. So I'm just taking in my 39 and, I'm reaching a real big club. I know the 40-year-old club. So I'm just enjoying my last day of being 39 today.
It sounds like we both have big November birthdays. Unfortunately, I'm going to hit the 50 on November 19th. So that's not too good.
You look great because I saw you take a jump shot the other day in your backyard, and I know for sure there's no way that D3 hoops guy can make that shot. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that's at that D3 guy.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder about these guys that do a lot of talking. I don't know what I'm going to get from that guy, but I know that I can fire some threes on him. That's all I know.
I saw the stroke, man. We might need, if you got some eligibility, we may use you during the season.
Well, thank you so much for making this work, Raul. And I think you have a lot of exciting things going on with your program that I want to talk about. I first want to talk about just your background a little bit, and then we'll get into your program and your team and the season. But you have a really interesting background in that you didn't grow up in a D3 footprint kind of situation. You grew up in Miami, Florida. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
And yeah, go ahead.
I played at Gulliver Prep. I was actually teammates with Sean Taylor, who passed away for the Washington Redskins. Big time Hall of Fame safety. Just a big athletic school. Was all county first team as a senior at a high school, and I went the junior college route. I ended up playing for Tommy Dempsey, who was the head coach at Ryder for a while and was head coach at Binghamton. Played for him 2 years at Keystone Junior College up in Scranton, Pennsylvania area. So I went from South Beach to Scranton, big change. And, went to a Final Four, went to a Sweet 16 in JUCO, and then was fortunate enough to come to Maryville College. I had several opportunities up north, but I wanted to get down south. And it just didn't work out in regards to the D2s that were recruiting me. And I ended up here at Maryville College. A teammate of mine transferred from a Division I from Florida International here, loved it. I came on a visit, fell in love with it. And, I really enjoyed Coach, who was here for 40 years. And they just had a winning tradition, and I wanted to be part of winning. And, came here and had, 2 really good years. We went to a Sweet 16, went to a round of 32 as a player. Never lost a conference game. I was all conference. I can't complain. My stay here was awesome. And, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I've been very fortunate to a lot of doors have opened for me because of my decision to come here to the college.
In terms of just, where you fell in love with the game, I assume that was growing up in Miami. And, we were talking a little bit off the air about the fact that I've worked a lot in Miami. The last place I was headquartered in Miami, and I was there all the time. And I think most people think that Miami is like the Fontainebleau in South Beach. And real Miami is a much different place than the place that they go get in the Uber and go across the bridge and go to on South Beach. Like real Miami is much different than people think, right? And so what kind of place did you grow up in Miami? Where did you learn to play basketball? I mean, talk about a little bit of your upbringing.
Yeah, I come from a Cuban background. I'm a son of Cuban immigrant parents. My parents migrated here in 1980 during the Mariel Boatlift, and was fortunate enough, obviously, to be born in 81 and during some tough times in Miami. There's a lot of rioting and things going on of that nature during those times. And man, it's just a city that made me extremely tough. The areas that I grew up in weren't as what I would consider as easy growing up, but you find your way. And through basketball, I'm fortunate enough through basketball, a lot of doors opened up for me. And, I was able to go to one of the best high schools in our area. It was a private school, got a scholarship to go there, and really helped me, see the bigger picture of using athletics as a way out and as a way to obviously help, my life and the life of my family, and hopefully impact, I have a younger sister and brother who, through me and through my career as a high school player, saw the importance of education. And, but it's a city where there's a lot of competition. And it just made me the person who I am, and being a son of Cuban immigrant parents, my parents had to work extremely hard, and I learned a wealth. We weren't monetarily wealthy, but I think the habits and the stuff that the morals that they helped me as I grew up really helped me and shaped me who I am today. So I'm very thankful for the city that I was born in, and the city that I was raised in. So.
And for your parents to come over here, again, just based on all the wonderful Cuban friends that I made during my time in Miami. I mean, most people here don't understand, you mentioned the Mariel Boatlift, which I think it was 1980. Fidel Castro basically said, okay, if you want to go, you can go. And there's going to be a designated place, and you can take off in a boat from there and leave if you want to. This wasn't exactly getting on the Love Boat
No.
heading to Miami. You talk about things that most people here don't understand, but just the courage of your parents to leave Cuba in what was probably a horrendous situation. I mean, you got to have a pretty good appreciation for what they did for you.
I do it, and that's why I try it, and I share that with my kids all the time. I try to glorify my parents with my work ethic every day, and with this opportunity, because it's not given to many. I don't care what level it is. To become a college head coach is extremely hard and difficult, and I don't take this for granted. And I just try to bring a workman-like attitude every day to everything that I do, because I know my parents did it for me. They sacrificed for me to have a better life and to have better opportunities. And, I'm eternally thankful for that. So, every day that I wake up, I'm kind of that guy where what you see is what you get every day. And I bring it every day, whether it's the weight room practice, it doesn't matter, film room, because I cherish every single day that it's given to me, because I owe it to my parents. So that's kind of the little skinny on, how I got here and, why I am the person that I am.
Yeah, no, that's some of the most interesting stuff, I think, is we can talk about what happens on the floor, but sort of the backstory of how you got here and who you are is super interesting. You mentioned you went to Gulliver Prep, you went to a junior college, Keystone Junior College. You ended up at Maryville for 2 years, very successful. You were a high scoring point guard, set some assist records, had a great career at Maryville. You also, didn't you play in the ABA for just a little bit?
So
right?
out of college, my final year here, I actually ended up meeting my wife, and I was presented with kind of that dilemma of, I had an opportunity to go play in Ulm, Germany. But it wasn't for a lot of money, obviously. And, it was just a startup league at the time. And, she really wanted to do it, but then I was presented with a school system job. They presented me with becoming a head coach at the age of 23 and working for central office as being the translator for the entire school system. And I kind of made a very mature, I believe now at 40 that I turned tomorrow, I made a mature decision then to have a very steady job. To be able to provide for myself first and foremost. And I always wanted to coach. And I said, this is a great opportunity for me to get started, get my feet wet as a 23-year-old, as a high school head coach. And so I made that decision. But yes, I was able to play during that time. Knoxville Thunderbolts was here in town. It was an ABA team. And so I was able to get my fix in as a player still. I was still young enough to play. And I would still at the time play in the Rocky Top League. See, back when Bruce Pearl was here, they created a league where all the college guys, all the UT guys, pro guys, Jalen Rose, CJ Watson, and all the UT greats would come back and play. And it'd be the local college guys, the guys that I'd just finished playing. And it led to a great environment here. So, I got to get my fix in for about 2 to 3 years while I was coaching. And, I just enjoy being around the game, whether it's playing or coaching it. I really do.
How did you then get a chance to end up on Coach Lambert's staff? What was the connection between, so
So
you were a
the
high school
funny
coach?
story,
Yeah.
yeah, the funny story is, coach, contacted me after my 4th year and said, hey, he calls everybody Big. So he said, hey, Big, I'd love for you to come and help me. I'm thinking of retiring in the next 4 years. So I was, thinking of myself as a young coach, man, 4 years, I'll be, I'll be, 30, 31, and I'll be a head coach in college, because he wanted me to be his successor. But 4 years turned into 8 because we won a bunch.
It's funny how that
So,
works.
yeah, but I'm really thankful because I think I'm a big believer that everything happens in God's timing. And coach, the 8 years with him were invaluable to me as my growth as a coach. And I think it happened at the right time for me to be ready and obviously take this position, which, you're pretty dang crazy to follow a guy who's won 700 plus games and been to as many NCAA tournaments as he's been. Not many people want to fill those shoes, but I think the Cuban in me is not afraid of the challenge. And, I just very grateful for my institution to give me this opportunity. And, like Coach McCord, who's my assistant, and we talk about all the time, just want to leave this place better than I found it. Whether I'm here for the rest of my career or I move on somewhere else, I just want when it's all said and done that, man, Coach Placeres, took Coach, came after Coach Lambert and continued the tradition of excellence here and hopefully improved it while I was here.
It really is a great tradition of success. I mean, Coach Lambert was there 39 seasons. He made 20 trips to the NCAA tournament. That's hard to do.
Yeah,
he had 20 win seasons. He won 722 games. It's funny, the first time I ever heard of Maryville College in Tennessee, when I was a junior at Illinois Wesleyan and all of my buddies were on the basketball team. That season we went to the Sweet 16 and got sent to Maryville, Tennessee, and
Really?
And lost by 2 points. And that was the first time. And then obviously since graduating, kind of following the program. But
Right.
This is a program, Raul, with a storied tradition and a lot of success in Division III. As someone that's taking over that program, there's got to be a feeling of pressure a little bit when you take over for a coach that had that much success. And what's that part like?
Man, we're talking about that this year with the high expectations that we have for our program this season. I think high expectations is a privilege. You talk about pressure. I think pressure is a privilege. I'd rather be at a place where, winning is really important. If winning is the standard, is the expectation. And I don't run away from that. If my background, like we talked about earlier today, has taught me anything, is that you don't run away from any challenges. And that's, to me, that's what I'm really proud of being part of this program, is continuing that tradition of excellence on and off the floor. So I embrace it, and hopefully I do even a better job than Coach did in his 39. That's what it's about, right? It's about leaving this place better than I found it. So I'm looking forward to continuing this tradition of excellence.
You're heading into your 3rd season. And so last season obviously was that very strange, difficult COVID season, but you guys really had a big year. You won both the regular season in the USA South and the conference tournament. Let's just talk about it not from a basketball standpoint. What was last year like in terms of coaching, playing through the pandemic?
Yeah, it was obviously no one had the blueprint to how to, handle it, right? It was just that, as things came, you reacted and you acted, to the best of your ability. And, we tried our very best to stay as healthy and be as safe as possible. We talked about being unselfish all year long. We were going to have to be really, really unselfish, not just on the floor, but off the floor, and make special sacrifices as a college student because we were student athletes, and, we had to stay safe. And, we went through 3 quarantines during the year. And for those who didn't go through that, it was extremely tough. You would get a rhythm and then all of a sudden sit out for 7 to 10 days or whatever it was. I can't remember now. But we went through that, and you just had to find a way. And, the guys were just really resilient all year long, not making excuses for what was going on. And, and you've heard this from many other coaches, but, taking advantage and being grateful of the moments that we did spend together during the year, because we knew nothing was truly guaranteed. And that's why I'm so happy that we were able to obviously win the regular season and then obviously win the conference tournament, because we went through so much as a team. I think it's a special year, and those who were able to win their conferences, man, kudos to them, because I know how hard it truly was.
And you return a ton from that team last year. So let's just kind of walk through. First of all, coming into last year, you had added 2 Division I transfers into the mix. You had Miles Resnick, a 6'1" junior guard from ETSU, and Chase Ridnour from Tennessee Tech. Now Ridnour got hurt, I want to say like in the first game, and missed
first play of the game. He got
first game. He misses the rest of the season. But you return. So Miles Resnick was one of the D1 guys from ETSU. He had a really good season last year, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. We talked about Chase, who got hurt, but I believe he is healthy and ready to play this year, correct?
He is. He just had 27 points in our inter-squad scrimmage on Friday. So
yeah, when people look at your team and they're evaluating what you had last year, you got to pluck a really good Division I transfer back into the mix. You also had several other important guys, but a couple stand out in particular. So J.R. Sanders is 6-foot senior guard who averaged 15 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. And Felix helped me out with
Uwadiale. Yeah, Uwadiale.
Uwadiale. I got it.
Yes.
I wasn't even going to take a shot at that without your help. But 6'6" junior forward, 11 points, 9 rebounds a game. He provides a big physical presence. So, boy, you have, and we could list some other guys, but you have a great nucleus coming back. You have to be pretty fired up about the 21-22 season here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I tell the guys all the time, I'm a big Pat Riley guy. I think when you have a team who's capable and has championship aspirations, I think you have to challenge yourself. And that's why we've challenged ourselves in our schedule this season. I think a coach who runs away from challenges is a coward. And I think, we need to embrace as tough of a schedule as possible. If you truly are competing for championships and want to be successful in the NCAA tournament, I don't believe in putting a Mickey Mouse schedule together. So you can be 22, 23-2, and then your strength of schedule is not as high, and you're basically forced to have to win the conference championship to get into the tourney. So I'm trying to challenge our guys. We're going to the D3 Hoops Classic in Vegas. We're playing a Division I second game of the year. We're playing the national champs from the NCCA. We're playing all the top teams, hopefully in the South, to give us a strong South region presence. We're going on the road to Hampden, Sydney, which is traditionally a power in the South. So as much as I possibly can, and the restraints and the budgets of Division III, it's sometimes tough to really get out of conference, good schedules. But we did our very best to challenge our guys, and just really excited. I think we have a good blend of athleticism, length, shooting, ball handlers. That's the luxury of being able to do this as a player, being able to go to the tournament as a coach. I think I have a little bit of an idea of what it takes to move on. And this team certainly has the potential, which is something that has not been attained, but it has the potential to hopefully put themselves in a good position to challenge for an NCAA tournament bid.
Your schedule is great. And, you mentioned a Division I team, second game of the year. So November 9th at Samford, I believe, is the game that you're referring to. How did that game come about? I always find it interesting how these D3 games come
so
out.
I have a good relationship with Coach Bucky McMillan at Samford. My high school coach is actually an assistant on that staff. They just got a transfer that I coached. I did 4 years ago. I coached a really big time AAU team. All 9 of my guys went Division I, and one of the kids is this point guard who played at Florida and was a transfer. And, there was good communication between Bucky and I with the relationship I had with Quez. And, we just decided that it'd be a great thing for us to come down there, challenge ourselves against a team, that's going to be pretty good in their league. I just like giving my guys an experience. Last year we couldn't do it. The year before, my first year, we went down to MTSU with a really young team. At the time, we had 9 freshmen and 1 senior. And it was crazy to play a mid-major Division I team, but we led for the first 18 of those 20 minutes in the first half, and we're down 6 at the half. And I knew then that we had a special team of young guys that if they continue to grow, we would be a championship caliber team. And, it happened in year 2. So, I like that for the kids. This is about the experience for our student athletes. And, one thing that we do promise in the recruiting pitch is we will play a Division I team every single year. So I think that'll help us in the long run.
Absolutely. And you mentioned playing at Hampton Sydney. You also play at Emory. So on November 28th, Emory's ranked 13th. They are a powerhouse, obviously from a power conference, the UAA. That Emory game is going to be one that a lot of people have circled and are watching the stream of that day.
Yeah, I got it circled too. It's the battle of the two bald-headed coaches in the South, me and Zimmerman. And he's an exceptional coach, has done a fantastic job with their program in the last decade. It's been a while since we beat them. I think we are 1-9 in our last 10 against them. It's been a while since we've been able to beat them. So yeah, we look forward to that challenge. And like I said, what better way to challenge your team in the South than playing a school like Emory, who's been it's been a tradition for the last 10 years for them to win their league and to be in the NCAA tournament. So we look forward to that challenge.
You mentioned the D3Hoops.com Classic. That is a great tournament that is hosted in Las Vegas by the D3Hoops.com crew. I know Pat Coleman's always there, Dave McHugh. You play a really talented Pacific Lutheran team out there. They just had a really good season last year. They were a team that was, I can't remember if they got into the top 15 last year, but they had a lot. They were close. I know they had votes, and so you got to be looking forward to another game against a team from a very different conference, the Northwest Conference in Pacific Lutheran.
Yeah, hopefully it also helps our strength of schedule. Whitman and Whitworth typically are really strong teams in that league, and typically teams that get to the NCAA tournament. So I think, that's the reason I did it. I think obviously, doing this for as long as you have, it helps you at a national level in regards to your recruiting when you're doing tournaments like this and challenging yourself out of conference. And it's just a neat experience for our guys to be able to say, hey, we played a Division III team from Washington, and the next night we're playing a team from California who is not a traditional D3. It has over 12,000 students, right? So it's just a unique trip for us, and we plan to have a good time, but we plan to hopefully play well in those 2 days.
I would think telling recruits that you're playing the Banana Slugs would be just gold right there.
I just want a t-shirt. When I meet
Absolutely. So yeah, great schedule. And just before we leave that topic of scheduling, it seems like from your comments that you're very mindful of the construction of your schedule from a standpoint of balancing, making sure you have strength of schedule, because there's been a lot of examples where a team gets the selection Sunday. Let's say you get upset in your conference tournament. You're sitting there on selection Sunday and you've got a winning percentage of 880, but your strength of schedule is 490. We've seen that play out a lot of times. The good example from a few years ago was everyone was wondering if Yeshiva lost in the Skyline, were they going to get in with their really incredibly low SOS, but they're incredibly high. I think they had 1 or 2 losses. Winning percentage. You must be very mindful of how you put your schedule together, it sounds like.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's, you got to win games, right? It doesn't matter how really, how good your strength of schedule is. At the end of the day, you have to show that you're a type of ball club that can win those type of games, but it does help. But mainly if you have an NCAA tournament caliber team, how can you advance in the NCAA tournament? And I take that philosophy from when I played here and the teams that I saw, and what the teams that I've seen since being a coach and going into the NCAA tournament. If you don't challenge yourself out of conference, once you get to the NCAA tournament, in the last 2 NCAA tournaments we've been to, we played Nebraska Wesleyan, who ended up winning it all that year. We played them in the first round, and then we ended up playing a Marietta team that lost in the Elite Eight because the guy went off for 60-something points, right? They were that talented. But we didn't face, besides Emory that year, another team that was of that caliber, right? And that's not a disrespect to the teams we play within our conference. It's the reality of it. As you go up north in D3, the level is much greater. I think there's a different affinity for Division III as you go up north. And there's, just a larger amount of schools, and it's just top level basketball. And you got to prepare yourself for that. So that's what I'm trying to do. If we have the opportunity to maybe make an NCAA tournament berth, we'll know that we're ready for it.
Talk a little bit more about that, kind of the difference in geographies in Division III. You're 100% right that in the Midwest, when you look at like Illinois and Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, these areas that are just Division III hotbeds, I think high school seniors, they know about these programs and they don't look down on them being Division III. If you're a kid in Iowa, what you think of Buena Vista or Dubuque, or certainly a kid that thinks about Nebraska Wesleyan, or the kids from Illinois that are looking at Augustana and Illinois Wesleyan, Calvin, Hope, Worcester, Wittenberg.
Right.
You're just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's not, in terms of footprint, that's not a place where high school kids, the Division III doesn't have a brand necessarily. You got a ton of NAIs, Division II.
Yes.
You must run into having to sell Division III quite a bit to your recruits. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's very fair to say. And, I guess the lucky part for me is that Coach did such a great job in his tenure here that it's not as hard when he first took over, right? And, you have to be very active on social media. You have to schedule these type of tournaments. You have to really challenge yourself. So it does become a valuable option for the recruits. And one thing I will tell you, here recently is what I call, it's become cool again to come to Maryville College if you're a local guy. And you need that. If you're a Division III program, in the 75 to 100-mile radius, you need to be locking in those talented players that are borderline, high level, right, all conference type D3 guys that could be Division II, right? That's how you win at this level. And I'm very fortunate to, obviously, through the transfer portal, been able to land 2 Division I guys. And, 3 or 4 of the guys that are on our roster had opportunities to play at a scholarship level school, but decided to come here for the value of the education, the small class sizes, and obviously the tradition of the program. So yeah, we just got to continue to push it and get guys. I always tell high school coaches, don't tell me you have a D3 guy until you come watch us practice or play, because it's high level basketball. By the time these guys are sophomores and juniors, especially the guards in this league, they're mid-major Division I guys. We're talking about the all conference guys.
Yep.
They're really good players. So it's important for high schools to come and watch a game or watch a practice.
And it's amazing how that snowballs once you build a team like you have this year and recruits come and watch that. It's a whole bunch easier to get good players when you have good players. I think you'd agree with that. It's the same way at every level. At some point, Gonzaga was a school that, no one had ever heard of in the Pac Northwest. And then all of a sudden it's a powerhouse, and kids that they're recruiting think, they're going to the Final Four every year. And it's not that much different in Division III. Would you agree that when you could bring kids to your game this year, that's your best recruiting tool?
Yeah, it's right now the best thing for us has been, come to a practice, right? And you see the size of our guys, and they've done a great job of working with our strength coach for the first 6 weeks of the year. When you come and watch us, I believe I've done this long enough that we don't look like the prototypical Division III team. And that really helps because it opens the eyes of these prospects that, wow, these are the best players on their high school teams. These are Division I transfers, look at the size of their center, so it really helps. And I hope we can continue that type of recruiting and exposure within our program to land these type of players.
We're talking to Raul Placeres, the head men's basketball coach at Maryville. Just a couple more questions, Coach. Let's talk about your conference, the USA South Conference. It's a big league. I can't remember how many men's basketball programs are in the conference right now.
Baba, honestly, I don't know.
It's a lot.
We add one or two every year. So No, I think we're at 13, I think right now, 13, 14.
And you,
I
you
think
guys
13
you play in divisions, correct?
divisions. Yeah.
Two to,
So,
yeah. Talk about the league a little bit. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are as familiar with that league as, say, like in the South, the ODAC, for example.
yeah,
That's,
like,
you can talk about
we
your
don't,
conference.
yeah, we definitely don't get the love nationally like the ODAC does, and for many reasons. But I'll share this with you. We're one of the few leagues that has to play back-to-back games in conference. Many leagues that I know of don't do that. And that's extremely hard at this level because of the amount of travel that takes place in our league. Now going divisional, it has become a little bit easier these past couple of years. But when we had to stretch out to the other side, you're talking about 7-8 hour bus trips to go play games, and then get up on a bus the game after and go 2.5 to 3 to the next place. And that becomes extremely strenuous, on a student athlete on the road. And I think that's why our league is so competitive from top to bottom. It's because of the travel and the distance. And, it's an athletic league. It's a lot different. It doesn't have what I would consider the girth of, I guess, the Midwest and the Northeast on the block, but it's a really athletic league, and some really talented young coaches in it as well. And just a challenging conference.
You bring a good point about travel in Division III, because it's all over the board. You go from the way you guys travel, long bus rides back to back. You look at the UAA, where those guys are flying to most of their games and doing the Friday, Sunday thing. In the league that I follow, the CCIW, it's really very simple. Games are typically like on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and it's a 2-hour bus ride to every game, and then you're back that night. So
Right.
travel is a big difference from school to school in Division III. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, there's a lot of reading. I listen to a lot of music. I think about the games a lot more than other coaches have to think about the games, the post game, because the travel is far, but, it makes it for a unique experience. We try in our program not to make excuses. It's just opportunity and ways to grow as a team. And we use a lot of those long road trips to grow and get to know the guys a little bit better on those long bus rides. And it is what it is. That's our league, and I'm happy to be in it, and represent it the right way, and hopefully we can do that this season.
Coming into this season, you're ranked 23rd in the preseason poll, and that's hard to do. It's hard to, in Division III, where you've got 25 voters, and especially with last year being so crazy, and some schools didn't even play last year. What are your thoughts about where you were ranked in the preseason?
Yeah, we're appreciative of the voters, and for people to recognize our program. When you have over 400 plus Division III schools around the country, it's an honor to be considered in the top 25. But at the end of the day, honestly, it just puts a bigger target on your back than we already typically have within our league and out of conference. But I like the high expectations, because, like I said, again, we're preaching it's a privilege. You have to bring it every day in practice, in the film room, in the weight room, because you're going to get everyone's best shot. And I think that's great for our program. It helps with recruiting, and it helps with the visibility of our program. So it is what it is, and we're just embracing it, and we'll see. At the end of the day, it's not where you start; it's obviously, as you well know, where you finish. And if we can, the lower that ranking gets, the further I think we're going. So that's what it's about. So
absolutely. And just maybe a couple questions here, and just culture. You're in your third year. You're following a coach that was very successful. You're still a relatively new head coach here. What's the culture that you're building with your program?
Yeah, I just think, I learned a lot from Coach. I have my own style. I think you have to be who you are. And the way I am is what you see is what you get. My biggest strength is that I'm extremely honest, and my biggest weakness is that I'm extremely honest. And it's hard because the age group that we're coaching at times struggles with that. But I think it better prepares them to tackle it on the real world and to be successful. And that's the way we approach our program, and everything that we do is with the truth, with discipline, and to bring just a professionalism to what you do. At the end of the day, all these guys are going to be professionals out in the real world, and I want them to be super successful. And how do you do that? By being super dependable, by approaching the film room the right way, by approaching the weight room the right way, by being on time. Punctuality is extremely important, and that's why we create the schedules that we create, and because it better suits them to be ready for the real world. So, I am very blessed. And I mean this, sometimes it's just luck. I have my best students are my hardest workers. My hardest workers are my best people. And I think when you have that, great blend, anything is possible. And I'm really happy and excited about this year and excited about the guys we have in our program.
Coach, going back to where we started this, as we start to conclude your Cuban roots, my sales team down there in Miami, they really just kept selling me on the Cuban coffee, the Cafecito, to where like every day I was in Miami at 2 p.m. I had to have that little thing about this big. I don't know what you guys put in that, but have you brought that to the Maryville program? Are people drinking Cafecito at 2 p.m.?
The only cafecito I'm bringing is the energy you get from the cafecito in practice every day. No, my wife has really she has cafe bustelo at the house. So she's Sicilian, she's Italian, so she has that Cuban coffee ready at all times. She actually made some Cuban coffee for me last night, real late, because I had to watch film, so I had to stay up, and we're getting ready for a big scrimmage here this week against a Division II power here in our area to get ready for our season. So. But yeah, man, that Cuban coffee is potent. There's something to it. I have no idea what it is, but it's totally different than anything around. So,
well, Raul, this has been great. I've been looking forward to this a long time, and boy, you have an exciting season ahead of you. I think that 23 ranking is probably low. I think I don't think everyone realizes how much you return and the addition of Chase Ridnour and what that will mean this year. I think you're poised for a huge season. Exciting times ahead. I want to give you a last word here. You've got some of your alums, your fans, possibly your players, others around Division III checking out the QCast today. I'm going to give you the last word here, Raul.
Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. I know a lot of people follow you, and just thanking you for what you do for D3 basketball. It means the world to us coaches, because we don't have these type of platforms like the bigger, the bigger levels, and it just helps with the fans and the alums to get excited about the season. I just ask our parents, friends, families to really come out and support these guys who went through a whole year of not having fans in the crowd. I know it means a lot to the guys to have that, not just at home, but on the road. Just people to understand that, there should be a big time level of respect for what these kids do. It's not the typical Division I, D2 programs where, you have protected schedules. These kids are going to classes all day long. They got to come and practice from 4 to 6, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, watch film. They don't fly, they travel in buses. It's the total student athlete experience. And I respect those who do it, and especially those who do it the right way. And again, man, thank you for this opportunity. I hope the Scots can play up to their potential this season, and we'll see where that leads us going forward. But again, really excited about all my guys. I know you mentioned just some, but I think our depth is what makes us really strong. And I look forward to not just the names you mentioned, but other guys on the roster to really step up and attribute to winning. That's what it's about. Can you use your attributes to help us win basketball games? And, I think we can.
I think you can too. And I'm already seeing it now is Illinois Wesleyan versus Maryville College in the Sweet 16. So,
hey, I'm going to tell you this, that'd be great, because in 2003, when I was a junior point guard here, we lost by 2 to John Carroll in the Sweet 16 at Worcester. And we were supposed to play you guys in the Elite 8 to go to the Final Four. So I hope so. Me and my assistant, we were teammates. And we were on that floor together. So it was a fantastic game. I think the current coach now at John Carroll, actually, I played against, I think it's Coach Moran at the time. I think he succeeded his dad. But, man, that'd be great to run into you. And that should mean a lot of wins if we get to that point.
I think it would be a wonderful thing, and I will be there for sure. And again, exciting times here. We're getting back to kind of what feels like a more normal season. Raul's Maryville squad poised to do huge things this year. Raul, thank you so much for doing this, and good luck as you prepare for opening night.
Appreciate it, brother. And again, thank you again for the opportunity.